Hello everyone, Krydax here, and welcome to Colony Survival, a city builder, worker, task designation, Minecraft-esque but not at all like Minecraft production chain strategy game that just received a huge update of 0.9, essentially changed the game. I would argue it's almost a different game now in all the good ways. And I'm very excited to share it with you guys. This is my nomination for Best Sleeper Game of 2022. If you like resource chains, I just recommend you go buy this game right now. It's incredible. If you're uncertain, well, watch and find out. We're going to jump into a new world. There's not a lot to kind of pick upon world generation. We're going to call it Crydania because, well, what else would we call it? And we're going to go on very high difficulty because I have a bit of experience and I think it provides a good challenge. It's not, I wouldn't call it brutal. It is kind of difficult, but it's not brutal, so I'm not too worried about it. And for the world seed, we're just going to go with the classic 8008. No, I'm kidding. We'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That seems sufficiently random. I've never played that seed before, and we'll just jump right in. It is way better than Minecraft. That is a subjective statement, and they're very different games. At first blush, this game does look a bit like, I mean, it looks like another, whoa, we spawned right in front of a leaf, which is kind of strange. We'll come back to the quick start guide here. But yeah, at first blush, the game looks like just another kind of Minecraft-esque thing. But it is very, very, very different than Minecraft. So, yeah, and I'm actually going to pause the music. We'll get the chill music coming back in a bit. The game doesn't have music yet. It is an early access title. It's been out for quite a while. There are I think only 2, maybe 3 developers working on the game. So it has been receiving updates. So you can chop trees. It's a little bit different. You know, the blocks don't have the chopping animation like you do in Minecraft. So at first blush, you know, you play this game and you're like, wow, this is just another Minecraft knockoff. Oh no, but it is so much more than that. Oh my goodness. And honestly, I like it a lot more than Minecraft for reasons that you will see soon. But yeah, you've got this, you know, auto-generated world with mountains in the distance, and it looks like we have a nice flat area here, which is good. And we will have to establish our colony. And essentially this game is all about setting up resource chains and production chains to supply your colony with resources and subsequently defend your base against attacks every night, which is pretty cool. It's got a bit of that tower defense element and various options to defend yourself. It's not quite, I would say there's a bit more that could be fleshed out in the tower defense side. But yeah, what we'll do first is we will plop down our colony banner. And we'll create our colony here. And when you create your colony, you'll see the things pop up in the top left here and the top right to provide us some information, such as what time it is, how many beds and colonists we have, how many are employed versus unemployed, and then we have ammo counts, meal counts, and threat level up here, as well as points, which is kind of like money, essentially, for later. And the threat level represents how many and how much health worth of zombies are going to attack every night. And I also think my audio settings are a little off. I think I like the ambient to be down a bit. These got reset at some point. Okay, so what even is this game? Well, you start out with an inventory, and this inventory is your colony's inventory, not your personal inventory, so you can access it kind of from anywhere. You don't have to deal with chests, which I like. And you start out with really not much. You've got 12 beds, 3 crates, 20 torches, you know, whatever trees you've chopped, and 200 planks, and then 20 berry meals, which your colonists need to eat. 1 meal per day. And then to make the first, these are called job blocks, you need some stone rubble, which of course, as in any good block-based game, you dig down and you can find some stone. So we're just going to dig down a little bit here and find some stone rubble, which we will use. You can also hit the, well, I've rebound it to my G key. I don't know what the original hotkey was, but you can get a torch kind of like a flashlight almost. You can also just hold a torch in your inventory slot, and that will create light. You know, you can always just place down a torch too to get some light. And we'll just mine some stone rubble here. I'm going to go, I don't know, a little bit down, maybe until we have about 30. Should be enough to get us started. 30 or 40. I did play the beta version of 0.9 quite a bit, which is the version that just released. And if you've played this game before, I will say that the new updates are quite extensive. So I would recommend giving it another shot. It is quite a different game now, and I think all the changes are for the better. And that's copper right there, which we will have our colonists be mining automatically later. So I'm going to go ahead and put all this in my stockpile, and then we can craft a couple tinkerer's tables. And I can also place down some beds. Later on, we can get a little fancier with, you know, how we place things. For now, we can kind of just place them down wherever. There is no threat in the very early game, so you don't have to worry about enemies attacking you even at night until I believe you get to 25 colonists is when the threat begins. So we'll place this stuff down, and I'll kind of explain a little bit of what's going on here. So we have 6 beds, and you can see that up in the top left, and we can recruit colonists. Normally it costs 4 meals to recruit a colonist, but the first 10 are free. So I can just recruit those 6 colonists that will sleep in these beds at night, and you can only recruit as many colonists as you have beds. And that's an important note. And then these job blocks have all sorts of things that they can create. So it's almost, in a way, Factorio-esque. And you can see they're already getting started with the default kind of things that they're supposed to craft. And they'll use the resources from your stockpile to craft these things up to these limits with the priorities set. So they'll craft the things with 3 pluses first, and then all the things with 2, and then all the things with 1. And even though it doesn't seem like it's that robust of a system, you can pretty much do everything you need with this system the way it is. There is one case that it can't handle that I wish it could, but you also have different groups. So I could assign one group, for example, that just makes beds infinitely. And that could be group 1. And then everything else on group 1 is also going to make beds infinitely. That's not really what I want to do, so I'll reset that. The defaults are actually pretty good. I'm not going to change it, but let's kind of go through the stuff we can make here. We can make more beds, obviously, to have more colonists sleeping. Crates, which colonists need. Actually, I should place a crate back here. They drop off and pick up resources at crates. I'm also getting a little bit of a dropped frame rate because my CPU is garbage, and now that I'm streaming and recording, I think it's actually struggling a little bit, so I might have to turn down some settings. I'm not sure. Probably the draw distance being at maximum doesn't help. But anyway, beds and crates. You need crates all over the place for colonists to not have to walk as far, because time that colonists are spending walking is time they're not spending working. And so minimizing their walking time is always a goal in this game. And you know how we love efficiency in Cridania. Planks are just a building block. They are also an intermediate resource for other recipes. And then we have some of the combat stuff. So the sling is the first weapon. The sling bullets is the ammunition for the first weapon. And then there's 2 types of guards. There's night guards and day guards. I haven't needed day guards at all, but maybe if you had a really long maze, it could take zombies such a long time to get through your maze that you need guards to relieve the night guard shift, but generally the night shift is long enough to handle all the zombies. And so this is essentially a job block that will post a guard at that position, and then he'll work that job. So your guards are not people who do work during the day. There's people who sleep during the day, and then they guard during the night. And then stone tools are important because tools in a job block allow workers to do that job more quickly. And so you can see here with no tools, it's 1x crafting speed. And 100 seconds of use kind of doesn't really mean anything for no tools because they're infinite because you don't have tools. But then you can see with stone tools, for example, you get double the crafting speed and 1500 seconds of using them. And so stone tools are really obviously easy to get. All they take is stone rubble, and so you want to prioritize that pretty early. I actually put tools at the top as well as ammo, and then everything else I kind of just have on priority 2, usually. You also need some light here. So I'll plop down some light around, and like I said, there won't be any zombies attacking, so what should we do right now? Well, what we can do is designate some farmers. Obviously, we're going to need more meals. We've already eaten 6 of them, because I, hired the 6 colonists. And so berry farmers are the first thing, and you designate a field area with the tool down in the bottom left here, the command tool, which I have bound to my Q key. And then you can select the menu, and you can decide what kind of thing you're going to plop down. Right now we only have access to foresters, which chop trees, grow and chop trees, and berry farmers. So we'll get a berry farmer going. And with a lot of things, you actually want a bigger field, but berries are kind of different in that they're infinite. And so a smaller field is actually a little bit more efficient because they'll plant the berry bushes, and then they'll just be able to harvest from those berry bushes infinitely. One thing I like about this game, even though it maybe doesn't feel massively realistic, is everything is sustainable. So unlike games like Minecraft where you have to worry about, oh, I mined out this iron vein and now I have to go find more iron, you can just get sustainable from the beginning in this game. And you do need a lot of logs, so I'm also going to place a forester. Now, foresters, the size does matter because that determines how many trees they can plant. And the more trees they can plant, the more trees they can chop. So the biggest you can go is 100. And the trees take a little 3x3 area each. So you kind of want multiples of 3 for your forester. So like I could go up to 6x16 here, but there's really no point because it won't plant any more trees than 6x15. And I've, done this a lot before. We can experiment. You can also do really long and skinny ones, like 3 by, I think you can get all the way up to 33. And then you could do squarish shaped ones, like 9 by 9. Again, you could do 10 by 10, but that won't plant more trees because they only plant every few blocks. Now, berries are kind of interesting because you can't manually harvest them. There are some things that you're used to in other games that aren't quite the case here. This game is all about making your colonists do things. You really can't do much on your own except build and designate. You build stuff, you designate stuff, and that is your task. And you can mine stuff out, of course, which we will potentially start doing. I like my colonists to have a home. There are many valid ways to play this game. I like to be somewhere between realism and, gamifying. For example, you can maze zombies. You can make them walk along a maze while you shoot them. And there's a lot of ways that you can do that, some of which look very unrealistic. Like you could have a one-tile, floating maze that doesn't look like it could physically exist, or you could make a very realistic castle. You can do whatever you want as long as the zombies can get to your flag. If the zombies can't get to your flag, you go into what's called siege mode, and it uses up all your meals because you're not really supposed to do that. But all that to say, I like to play somewhat realistic. Like I give my colonists, some area to sleep in. I don't just shove them all in a dark room next to each other. My policy is colonists, they get the buddy system, so they sleep with one other colonist, and then there's at least a 1-tile gap before there's more beds. So that, there's room to get in and out of the beds. I feel like that's fair. That's somewhat livable conditions. But that's totally up to you as the player. There's no real restrictions. I think this game could use in the future a more Dwarf Fortress-like system where colonists could have like dormitories, and somehow the quality of that dormitory matters to them. I think that would be cool. It's definitely outside the scope of where the game's at right now, but could be a cool thing for the future, potentially. But yeah, so I like to have my colonists sleep underground because it's safer. But there's really nothing wrong with them having sleep up, on the surface either. So, I'm already faster than you and you've been playing for 2 hours. I haven't done all that much. All I did is plop down some beds. So yeah, I'm going to remove these now because those 6 colonists can sleep underground. And I'm actually going to place a couple more beds. You can see the colonists have now woken up again because It's morning. Colonists wake up at 4:30-ish, which is very early, and they go to bed at 7:30-ish. Hey, Teus, how's it going? Yes, this is essentially 3D Dwarf Fortress. It's very different in a lot of ways, but it shares a lot of similarities with Dwarf Fortress, so it's not entirely wrong to say that. And let's see, we do need tools to be prioritized here. I probably should have done tools before bullets. We don't need sling bullets at all right now because there's no enemies. And I'm going to hire 2 more colonists because we did place 2 more beds. And you can see our berry worker here has already planted the berry bushes and he's harvesting these berries. I do like to remove a berry bush and place a crate there. Even though in real life that would mean he'd get less berries, in this case it doesn't because all the berry bushes are infinite, so he won't complain. And then he doesn't have to walk very far to deposit his berries. And then if we press the command tool, we can actually see kind of the job block that the berry farmer's doing. And you can see that he collects berries at a rate of 8.5 seconds each, and then has a higher priority on making berry meals out of 8 berries, which is what the colonists can actually eat. So I'm going to designate a second berry farmer, actually, right next to this one. And that is because I just happen to have the knowledge that a berry farmer can support 3 to 5 colonists, depending on how efficient they are. When they're kind of like this right next to a chest, they can support, I think, like 4.5 colonists each, meaning they make like 4.5 meals a day. And then this guy is the forester. You can see he's planted his trees, and he's not really, they don't really do much during the day. If you really wanted to min-max, you could like let your foresters plant everything and then have them go do something else for the day. But that's a lot of micromanagement, and this game is not about micromanagement. It's about the macro. So there's really no need. He'll just walk around. Those trees won't grow until probably tonight. I think trees grow on a once-a-day cycle. And so the logs are needed to make planks. And also our initial tinker's table requires 4 logs and 4 stone. So sometimes you want to chop a few extra trees in the beginning to make sure you have enough logs. But yeah, this is the early game of colony survival. I really don't know why my frame rate's not doing great. OBS recording and streaming is definitely part of it, so I'm actually going to turn my settings down just a smidge here. Unfortunately, that requires a game restart, so I'm not sure what I can do. Maybe I can turn the shaders down or the shadow quality down just for now. Because I've never had any frame rate issues with this game before, so I blame OBS. So we'll keep clearing some space. One other mechanic I have not explained yet is the safe zone. So when you place down your banner, kind of like torches in Minecraft, a certain area will be safe from zombies spawning at night. And so this is where you want to build your walls if you're interested in building a fort that's walled off. And I'm probably going to move my banner further inland because this is going to be kind of difficult space to utilize. Wow, our colonist is just going for a swim there. He's the unemployed one, I guess. But it's difficult to take advantage of water just because you have to like build blocks on top of it. You can, build these grass blocks other places to establish farms other places, but it's kind of more of a pain. So I'm going to move this banner probably over like here. And you're allowed to just move it, which is nice. You're not like stuck in the first place. You settled it. And I'll probably move it a few more tiles just so that this little slope is outside the colony. Makes things a little less annoying. So we'll put it right here. And that way, when we get to building walls, we'll have mostly a flat space to build on. You by no means have to settle in a flat area, but it is helpful to start in a flatter space. So this guy has a green check mark, and that means he's crafted everything he's supposed to. So what we can do is increase some of these limits, such as, more beds than 5, more crates than 2, more planks. We'll do more ammo and stuff eventually, but there's no need right now. Probably more tools is important, because everyone will be using stone tools at some point. And then a few more. Tinkerer's Table. Tinker's Table are mostly an early game job block, so you're not going to need tons and tons of them. But, yeah. Now, for now, I have to do all the mining myself. No one else can do it for me. But you do unlock the ability to designate diggers and construction areas, which is pretty nice. So you can designate colonists to do the mining for you, which means you don't have to, and that feels really good once you unlock it. It's not super far into the game, but it's far enough that you definitely appreciate it by the time you get it. So yeah, I'm just clearing some shrubberies here. I don't know why the shadows do that. That's why I had them on high. If they're not on high, they kind of do that glitchy look. Maybe I'll turn the shadow distance down, because that's just how far away it renders shadows on things. Maybe that'll help. But I'm going to get a new CPU, I promise. My potato PC is the issue right now. I also realized that I should have thought about where my banner was before I dug out their little home, because I like my colonists to sleep closer to the banner. The reason for that being, they go to the banner for tools, and the banner is also where, when you hire new colonists, they spawn at the banner. So I like to make sure my dormitory is close to the banner. And there's really no need for me to dig this deep. I could just, as long as they have a roof, you know, that meets my internal need for satisfaction, but I like to have them underneath the rock. So maybe we can call them dwarves, because they're sleeping underground. And this is just kind of my standard design that I've worked out at this point, where I have a hallway to the right and to the left for more little cubbies with beds. And then the first cubby with beds is here, so that'll be a bed right there. And then this will be a bed. So we'll mine out a little bit more here. Make some space for beds, because that is the early game, kind of the early game challenge, is just having a lot of space for beds, a lot of beds, and then once you start getting past 25 colonists, you need to actually think about where you're going to put your guards, because zombies will start coming in. And it's really fun. It's kind of like Factorio in the sense that the enemies that attack are kind of like another production requirement. You know, like in Factorio, if you have good walls and turrets, you just got to make sure you have enough ammo or power for the lasers or artillery shells or flamethrower oil. And in this game, it's kind of similar. As long as you have enough guards and enough ammo, you'll be fine. Every night, you're not going to get, you know, surprised by some crazy new thing. And you can keep an eye on your threat, so you know when the threat goes up and you know when you need to add more guards, which I really like. But as you get later in the game, there are also traps. And so the idea of how you funnel the zombies into the traps and guards, there's a lot of individualization to that. It's not just like a one-size-fits-all solution. And I think that's actually really cool. And there's a lot more, I would actually say there's a lot more variation in this game with how you defend your base than in Factorio. Vanilla Factorio, a lot of people's base defenses end up looking pretty similar in the late game. But because of the 3D nature of this game and with traps being in it, it does feel like there's a lot of variation. I like these little pillars just aesthetically, but absolutely not necessary. There's no falling blocks like sand or gravel in Minecraft, so you can be unrealistic in terms of gravity to your heart's content. Yeah, Eurus, I don't know how these dwarves got so tall, you know, but they're just really tall dwarves, I think. I do like to have, so I have hotkeys changed around a bit because I didn't, by default this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, and I thought that was really weird because these aren't inventory. And I also made these 3 keyboard letters because, well, it's easier to hit 1 through 5 and then 3 letters than 1 through 8. So I like to put crates on this one, which is V for me. Torches go here, which is X, and then beds go here, which is Z. But I don't always carry around beds, because usually I place them in batches. So we'll actually pick these up. Not very nice to these sleeping colonists, which they wake up after a moment and decide, hey, wait a second, that's not cool. you might be wondering what happens if you hire 20 colonists and then you delete all the beds. In that case, you end up with basically, like, the colonists don't die, everything still works fine, but then you can't hire any more colonists until you replace all the beds and then more. So there's not really a point to doing that, even though you could. Okay, so that's 16 beds. I'm actually gonna mine a little bit deeper so we can get 8 more. 24 beds will be nice. And that'll keep us still safe from zombies for now, and then we can kind of maximize production with 24 colonists and then start building some walls, maybe? They should march about with placards. That would be hilarious. I would love that. It's also very nice, the intrinsic reach that you have to mine blocks, you can get up to 6 blocks away, which I like. Dave, I don't know if you're still here, but I know you didn't like how short the reach was in Foundry, so that should make you happy that you can reach farther in this game. Yeah, I don't have any more beds, so that's all we can do for now. 18 beds. Place a torch here. They don't need darkness to sleep, and it's just easier to see. Oh, I still had my personal flashlight on, too. Okay, we'll put a torch on the wall here. I also like to mine, let's see. Shoot. I'm going to move this one tile over. I like a 2-wide staircase. That feels a bit more realistic. So we'll widen this up a bit just for aesthetics. It's weird. I, as a player of games, don't tend to care a lot about aesthetics, but in this game I find myself caring more than I normally do, which probably is a good thing, actually. I think that's cool. Alright, so that's our staircase down to home base for sleeping, and then we'll move our tables closer, because there's really no reason for them to be over here anymore. That's the other nice thing. You can just pick up job blocks and move them. There's really no need for them to be in any particular spot. So there's a lot of flexibility. And I'm going to put 4 crates, just because then a colonist literally doesn't have to move. So there's 0 walking time, and that's maximum efficiency. And then, yeah, so 10 stone tools. We'll bump that up to 15, which should be fine for a long time. We'll bump up slinger guards to 10, just in case of emergencies. We'll bump up ammo to 200. We'll have them make 2 slings. I also tend to like the slings to be a higher priority than the slinger guards. So what I might do is actually everything goes down to 1. Except the slings and the ammo. So they'll make sure we have enough tools, and then they'll make sure we have enough ammo. This one doesn't matter because it's at 0 anyway. I don't need daytime guards. Make sure we have enough ammo. Make sure we have enough slings. That's what I meant to do. The reason I care about that, normally I wouldn't, because if they ran out of slings, they would just not make a slinger guard until they've made a sling, so it wouldn't really matter. But the player, this is actually quite fun. The player can use a sling. So at night, you can run around and shoot zombies with your guards, which is more entertaining than you'd think it is. It gives you something to do at night. And you actually end up, I think your weapon does twice as much damage as a guard does with the same weapon, and you also shoot faster. So in a pinch, you picking up a weapon can actually be important if you didn't have enough guards. In any case, 4 Tinkerers is probably enough to get what we need. We'll throw a few more beds. Wow, my CPU is dying right now. I don't know what's going on. Let me close Discord. Maybe that'll help, and close Steam. But yeah, I don't know. I need to upgrade my CPU already. It's in the works. Anyway, so what am I doing? I like to have 2 foresters just to make sure we have enough logs. So let's see, is this 6 tiles? That is 6 tiles. I'll get rid of this weird little edge. And then we'll place down a forester, 6 by 15. If tiles are in the way, they will only care if it's in the way of the actual tree planting. I can even place a crate right here, and that will not prevent the tree from growing. The tree will go right here because it gets its little 3 by 3 block. I should also place a crate over here for this forester, who is probably going and getting a meal right now. Yeah, he's coming back. So foresters, oh, here's the other guy. They kind of chop their tree instantly, but then they sit for a minute with like a cooldown. And then they'll plant the new one. So, bloop. So that's 4 logs right there, and then he has to wait a little bit, and then he'll chop this one. They always have plenty of time to chop all their trees, so that's nothing to worry about. It's really just the tree growing time that slows things down, because they take almost a full day to grow. Teus, I still do have to play the OBS lottery. I actually forgot to play the OBS lottery, so I can't pause this recording, because I'm not sure if it will kill my computer if I pause it. So I won't pause it, and after this YouTube episode, I'll probably restart it. So, a whole part of the game we haven't talked about, science. I don't know why I didn't talk about this earlier. So, there is an entire tech tree that we get to dive into to unlock all sorts of new stuff. And it all starts with mining, and you only need 5 stone rubble for that, and that unlocks a miner job block, where we can designate colonists to mine stone, clay, and copper in the early game, and they mine it infinitely. So they don't actually consume the blocks, they just it kind of gets produced out of thin air. But again, this game is about sustainability, so I don't really have a problem with that, even though it, you know, might feel somewhat unrealistic. And then probably the biggest research is the smelter. With some planks and stone tools, you unlock a furnace where you can make copper ingots, a splitting stump, which lets you make planks a little faster, and firewood, and then some decorative wood blocks, as well as quarter blocks, which is how you get nice stairs. And you can automate torches with that, so we'll go ahead and research that. Research is just a button. There's no, like, time spent required. And then pottery requires clay, which we'll have to automate a dude mining. And then this is the first thing that gives you threat from a research by itself. And that starts to unlock some more advanced things like leather and linen, and purchasing and selling some items at the merchant's hub. Mud bricks is just decorative, so I don't need to worry about that. And then wheat farming is kind of a big deal. For food, wheat farming is far more efficient than berry farming in terms of how much time it takes your colonists to produce a meal. So we'll get to that eventually. And you can see now they're making splitting stumps, because when we did the research, it added those job blocks to the tinkerer's table. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go up to 10 on miner's jobs, just because I don't really want to deal with this for a long time. Splitting stumps I'll keep at 5, because that uses up a stone tool, and it takes a little longer. You can see it takes 37.5 seconds. These are a little shorter. 12.5 and 25. So, I will dive down into the earth and place down some miner jobs. I don't need 8. I'm really only going to do 3, actually. I might do 4. So they don't need to make as many. And you have to put miner jobs on dark stone. So this lighter colored stone cannot be mined. So they have to go a little deeper, which I think is a good mechanic. So they at least have to travel a little bit to get to their mining site. We should be just about there. Maybe one more, one more tile down here. Yep, there we go. Go ahead and place a torch. I usually go 1 tile more down, and then there's copper everywhere down here. It's not very hard to find, which is good. And so I'll mine out a little area down here, and there's clay. And then to get regular stone rubble, all you need to do is just place a miner on a block that isn't clay or copper. And there is more ore deeper. There's iron ore deeper, and then there's all sorts of other ores in different biomes. So later in the game, you need to establish extra outposts which share the same stockpile to collect different resources, but then they also attract some threat, so you have to defend those outposts, and then you have threat banners where you can like try to send more zombies to one more well-defended outpost. So there's a lot of cool stuff that we'll get to. But yeah, let's go ahead and place down some miners. It's actually pretty nice. There's all three things that I want right here. So I guess that doesn't matter. I'll place all three right there, and then I'll put crates in front of them. And how about a torch? And they can deposit into crates that have a stone above them. So that's not actually something that's going to mess with the game, but it looks nicer, I think, if it is like that. So we'll do that. How's it going, Carolina Slacker? Welcome. And yep, they're making some more slings right now, it looks like. Oh, I need to hire more colonists. So we placed down the 3 job blocks, but we haven't hired anybody new. So you can see we have -3 unemployed, which means I need 3 more workers for all of my jobs to be met. And there's also a manage jobs button here. And we can, in a pinch, if I'm like, oh shoot, I need some more colonists and I don't really need my tinkerers right now, I can shove that all the way down to 0 and they'll all stop doing their jobs and they'll be available for other jobs. You tend to not need this very often. Most of the time you can just leave all your stuff working, but once in a while that's super useful. Oh, ands, yeah, or ands, or I don't know exactly how you pronounce that combination of letters, but welcome on in. Okay, so we have a decent amount of planks from our beginning 200. You can see berry meals are not doing great because I only have 2 farmers, and we already have 11 colonists, so I'm going to plop down 2 more right here, and even another one right here. Heck, we'll go above and beyond here. We'll do 4 more. And I will place... I actually like to stagger the chest. He'll replant that bush. He might be bothered at me on the inside, but it doesn't really have any consequences if I delete their berry bushes. But yeah, I like to stagger the chest like this because then it makes it even more likely that they don't need to walk very far from where they are to deposit their berries. Torches are unnecessary for anything growing. Unlike Minecraft, the light level is irrelevant. I don't know if I love that. It does allow you to farm underground or inside a house or things like that, which in some ways is maybe good, and in other ways, I don't know. I personally subscribe to crops need sunlight to grow, and so I will only plant stuff on the surface, or sometimes I'll build like a little bit of a, you know, like a canopy type thing where sunlight can come in from the sides realistically. But I'll never build farms underground, at least in the early game, because it feels a little, I don't know, it just makes things too easy, because farmland being restricted in your safe zone is, at least in my opinion, part of the fun of the game. Because I'm only safe out to, you know, these dark edges. You can see that's where everything the light touches. And what about that shadowy area? We don't go there. Also worth noting is you can upgrade your safe area later, but you need points, which is essentially money, from selling things in the Merchant's Hub. So can't do that for a little while. So you do the early game in the restraints you're given, and then it's kind of in the early to mid game. And there's quite a bit of game here, so I mean, you can see there's a lot of science that we have to look forward to. So, no feck, I am not sure. I did a tiny bit of testing on 7x3 berry farms versus the other smallest size you can do is 5x5. Obviously, 5x5 is more tiles than 7x3. So in that sense, this is less efficient. But I did do some testing, and 5x5s get like slightly more berries, but only slightly. Like, it's such a small difference that I think saving more space is the way to go. Technically, the most efficient way, which isn't very sporting, but it is effective, is this. You can make it so that he'll only... Or wait, I'm on the wrong tiles. You can make it so that he will not plant any berry bushes except that one, and then he'll be right next to a chest, and he'll just constantly use that berry bush. Not very fun. What's up, Frosty Wampa? And so you can see I still need 4 more colonists for those berry jobs. I can recruit 1, but I only have 1 more meal. And you can see now, since I'm above 10 colonists, recruiting a colonist costs 4 meals. So I actually cannot recruit more colonists until I get some more meals. I probably should have started with a few more berry farmers. I was kind of busy talking about the game instead of doing the efficient thing, but that's okay. That's okay. And at nighttime, when there's no zombies in the early game, it does get a little bit like, well, what do I do? So I like to start on my walls, usually, at this point. And so this will be the corner of our walls. And I don't know where I want the front gate to be. It could be over here. This seems like a decent spot. Yeah, we'll make it on this side. So the front gate will be right here, lined up with the banner, nice and centered. So that'll be the front gate. All you need is a 2-tile vertical. Zombies cannot go up or down 2 tiles. Dave, that's a good question. You can't set threshold alarms with items. There is a statistics board that you get a little bit later where you can keep track of like input flow versus output flow. And it is a little easier to see if you're kind of running out of something there. But yeah, there's not anything quite like that yet. So the reason I build the walls still in the safe zone is because zombies otherwise could spawn on top of the walls if they were on the first tile out here, which we also don't want. Now, zombies won't spawn in an area where they can't get to the banner. So if you had walls built, but the walls didn't have any stairs down, they wouldn't spawn there. But usually you put guards on the walls, so then that would be bad. I also like having a moat. And there's a part of me that really wants a wider entrance. But then the zombies are all spread out, which is worse in some ways for your guards. But I don't know. Maybe we'll start with a 2 wide entrance. Because that 1 wide just feels so skinny. And then I usually do kind of dig out a moat of 2 tiles to keep zombies from being directly next to the walls. So I will, at some point, kind of dig this out 2 tiles and dig that out 2 tiles, and then got a little bridge over, which I think looks fun. But for now, let's go back to our colony over here. I might... What do I do? I'm actually going to undesignate 3 of my tinkers for now, because I need more meals. That's #1 priority. So we'll get more tinkerers here in a minute, but for now we'll just focus on meals. I'll even put 2 more berry farms here. And he's making a furnace right now. We should already have some of... Yeah, we've got splitting stumps and furnaces. So we can take a look at what's inside of those. We don't even have colonists that can get employed right now anyway. But yeah, splitting stumps are mostly for planks and firewood. And then some of the other aesthetic blocks. And then the furnace is pretty simple. It's just for smelting. Later on, you unlock more things that you can smelt, like gold, ingots and stuff like that. But for now, copper's the only one. And you can see there's a lot of tiers of tools. Stone is just the first tier. We'll get copper soon enough. And then iron and bronze, in a way, are interchangeable. You actually get to bronze before iron. But bronze requires you to create an outpost in another biome to make bronze sustainably. And so iron is there as a tool that is better than copper, that doesn't require a second outpost. So generally, I've found myself to just skip over iron, actually, in a lot of cases. And then steel is late game, and that's 8 times crafting speed. So that's I haven't actually gotten that far in the game since that update was released, so I'm excited to get there. Anywhoozy, we got berry farms working, I guess, at fastest they can work. We're out of meals currently, but we should be okay. We have 8 berry farmers, which should make something on the order of like 35-ish meals a day. So, and we're only eating 12. Hopefully we'll see a bunch of meals pop in soon. But yeah, we're also sort of out of planks because we don't have any tinkerers chopping logs into planks. That is one thing I can't decide if I love or not. You cannot handcraft squat in this game. Like, literally the tinkerer's table and torches are the only things you can handcraft. And I've played this game quite a bit, and I still can't decide if I like that or not. There's a part of me that really likes it, and there's a part of me that wishes you could handcraft planks, maybe. But if you could handcraft planks instantly, like you can craft this stuff instantly, I think that would be too easy. So there's a part of me that maybe wishes you had a way to almost like Factorio craft where it took time on planks. Because right now, I find myself lacking planks in the early game quite a bit. But, that's kind of the point, just like in Factorio. You lack it, so you gotta automate more of it. Okay, we have 4 meals. We can hire another colonist. I'm gonna be hiring colonists as soon as I get to 4. And then we can watch this guy come over and plant some berry bushes. Bloop. Bloop. Yeah, this game is way better than it has any right being. Like, when I first opened the game, I kind of thought it looked a little janky. And yet, it's amazing. Cannot recommend it enough. What's up, Sarvi? How's it going? And I should probably just keep clearing things for farmland later. Give myself a job to do while we wait around for more meals. I do kind of miss the Minecraft way of leaves disappearing. I do like watching the leaves kind of like fade away in Minecraft. They just all disappear at once. Actually, Dave, that is incorrect. This game has multiplayer. And servers even, I believe. I've never played multiplayer, but it has it. Yeah, sorry, cold. Cold indeed. There is a serious winter storm for a lot of the US going on right now. For myself, it's hitting later today. But, what's up, Jamatya? Welcome. Okay, so we'll keep clearing the safe zone here. We're up to 2 meals. Not enough. Yeah, I really should have started with more berry farmers. I got too excited about the game and forgot that that's kind of important. But, efficiency is only part of the game. It's okay to not be perfectly efficient. Okay, so safe zone is clear here. I also like to clear a little bit past it in case I put guards on the walls and stuff. They're not having to, like... Because then if the zombie walks behind a tree or something, then the guard can't hit it. safe zone. We'll take out this tree too. Ooh, 6 meals, 6 meals. Bam. So 4 spare beds. And the 86 more here that it's talking about is our maximum colony limit. And you can also increase that here with points. So it's really not a big issue. I've never had the issue where I need more colonists and I can't get enough points to upgrade my capacity. So it's kind of just like another form of research almost, where it's like once you need more colonists, you just go sell some stuff and get some more capacity. So not a big deal. Jamatia, it may look that way, but this game is nothing like Minecraft. Apart from some of the core ideas, which are not core gameplay, but like chopping trees and crafting things and blocks, you know, like those are similar-ish to Minecraft, but in terms of what makes the game, it's nothing like Minecraft. Unless you consider Minecraft to be mostly about placing blocks. Because you place blocks in this game too. Like, if all you'd like to do is make pretty houses in Minecraft, then I guess this game could be kind of similar in some ways. Because you can build pretty houses in this game too. But it feels, to me, almost like Factorio more than it feels like Minecraft. Okay, that's some chopped trees. Go team. Put all that junk away. You can also build out of the leaves, which is kind of fun. And you can plant your own saplings, but I would only ever do that if I was really desperate for logs, and my 2 foresters have already clearly gotten ahead of the game with logs. Each log makes 4 planks, so we are good to go on logs for now. We have 7 more meals, so we can hire 1 more colonist. They're just going to go straight to bed, though. The sleep schedule is the same for all colonists, regardless of like when you hire them or anything. And we can watch the moon rise while we think about not having enough stuff. Now, there are dev buttons. I'm already tempted because I use them a lot in the beta. You can speed up the simulation time. So, like, when there's a night where I didn't really have anything to do, I just... you can hit it and it goes 10 times faster. But we can dig out some more colonist homes. You also need a decent amount of space for jobs. And you do want to use a lot of your free space for farming, and so I also like to put my jobs underground. So what we'll do is across the hallway, maybe down 1, because I like the room to be a little taller. This will be our job room, where workers can work on jobs and tinker and smelt and all that good stuff. In the long run, I actually want it to be 4 tiles tall. For now, I'm only going to dig out probably 2 or 3 tiles, but eventually we'll make it 4 tiles tall. I'll wait until we have the digger for that. A night shift, that would require more pay. That's an interesting concept. I've never thought about that. But yeah, we'll just mine out some space underneath the ground here for job blocks. And I should mine out some more space for beds too. We're gonna need more. Let's see. Oh, I need my... Uh-oh, we don't have enough planks. Every 4 beds, I like to have another pillar. Okay, so that's the 24 beds. Now, the safe zone... You do have to think about your safe zone distance, actually, because it only extends 30 tiles right now. 30 blocks radius from the banner. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get to here. And then every chunk of beds is really 6, because it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the next one starts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if we've already got 5, then we can only fit 24, which is 4 chunks of beds. So this is 3 chunks of beds, so we can still fit 1 more chunk. So we'll mine out 1 more chunk here, and then I go kind of to the sides and back for my other dormitories. It also would be smart to make like a stairwell to the surface on the back of the dormitory, potentially. Because having more pathing options for colonists is usually a good move. Like I said before, the less they walk, the more they work, which is always a good thing. Turn on my flashlight here, and we should see with the banner tool we're still in the safe zone. Yeah, I'm actually thinking 2 tiles would be not safe. This is the... so 1... pillar will go there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we're fine to mine out this one. Yeah. And I think technically even the next one would be fine as well, but we don't need it. I'll put the pillars here on the back. Plop down a few more beds. That's all we got for now. We'll need more tinkers for that. And we're almost at wake up time. 4 o'clock. Come on, everybody. Time to get up. Woo! Ding, 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 ding. No? Still sleeping? Gosh, they really need an eyes closed animation. It's kind of creepy. Like, hello, good sir. Oh, here they go. Now it's wake up time. So they're going to go down to their mining jobs. I guess we haven't watched them do their job yet. Mining is 20 seconds for the 3 basic ores, at least. And then they can use tools. So they should have stone tools by now. So each of these takes 10 seconds. Which is helpful when it comes to thinking about ratios later of like how many copper miners do I need to copper smelters, to firewood choppers, to all those things. Like I said, there's some Factorio vibes in this game, for sure. There are some Factorio vibes. Okay, so we have how many berry farmers? Did we say we had 8? I think I want to add 2 more. So we'll add 2 more berry farmers. And then we will start doing the other jobs again. Let's see. Like tinker. We need more tinkers right now. But I want to get ahead on meals. Meals on wheels. But yeah, so we're about an hour into the YouTube episode, so I think we'll probably call it quits right about here. This feels like it's been a good introduction to colony survival. I cannot recommend this game enough. It's incredibly addicting once you get going. It's really hard to put down. Starting a new colony is really fun. Like, if you like the kind of games that you've seen me play before, you'll like this one. It's really fun. So I recommend you go try it. I believe it's going to be on sale now-ish or soon-ish, and then the price will go up in the future, they said. I think like in the spring or late winter or something. So now's the time to get it. And yeah, we'll call this a YouTube episode. There will be plenty more of these, and I'm going to keep streaming for all of you here on Twitch. Stick around. And for those of you on YouTube, as always, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments about colony survival, and I'll see you in the next episode.